And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe June 30th of 2023, which is when they said the LIBOR would go away, meaning the Bank of England and the powers that be, it's going away. Maybe it'll be a nothing burger. And I hope it's a nothing burger, but maybe it'll be a big crisis. I don't know, but that's why you hold gold, because then it doesn't matter. I always like to do, what if I'm right and what if I'm wrong? And if I could do something where it really doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong, rock and roll hoochie coo, that is what I will do, hands down, every single time. That is a very safe place to be. And that's what gold does for you. Doesn't matter, right or wrong. That's why it's imperative for you. If you haven't done it already, you need to have that strategy in place and you need to be executing it while you still have the opportunity. And what's the best way to execute it? Well, it's really simple. For me, it's this, right? Out of the system, usable, real money anywhere in the world. And what have we seen? We've seen gold steady around 2000 as recession fears fuel safe haven demand. Yeah, gold, physical, in your possession is a safe haven asset. The best safe haven asset because of its use globally and its demand globally. Physical gold and silver are also the most liquid assets in the world. I get this question all the time, who's gonna buy my gold? Well, if you think back to the Depression, even though most of the population was in abject poverty, not everybody was, because wealth never disappears, it merely shifts location. So those up at the 1%, they have the tangible assets. They know how to have the wealth shift their way. The powers that be want you to keep your wealth in intangibles because then they can control it a whole lot easier. They're not coming to your house to bang on the door. Most people these days don't own much gold. And if they do own it, they own it in IRAs that are easy to sweep and take away from you. And the reality is if you don't hold it, you don't own it, and it is irrelevant what you perceive in a court of law. So hold it and own it. It's pretty simple. But why is it the most liquid asset? I tell you this all the time. I probably told you this a dozen times just in this. Because it has the broadest buyer base. It really is that simple. Therefore, it has constant demand. You know, the Bank for International Settlements is the central bank's central bank. And their job is to create and monitor, create rules, and then monitor them. I'm not comfortable with any of the banks. I'm not comfortable with the IMF. I'm not comfortable with any of that because it's all about control. And the other thing is they'll come out with some pretty great reports, but I know, because I saw it with my own eyes, that all of them will change the accounting rules so that things look more like what they want them to look like. So when I saw it, before I knew print screen, unfortunately, I saw in the derivatives that for every physical ounce of gold that actually exists, because there's a finite amount, that there were 62,000 ounces of derivative gold out there. And then magically, you just boop, boop, change some accounting laws and it looks way different. But I saw it with my own eyes. So do I really trust them? No, I don't trust them. They have a job to do. All of them have a job to do. And that is to keep us calm and keep us in the system so that it's easiest to transfer wealth. We're volunteering it. That's their job. Well, first of all, whoever holds the gold has the power. So it would be about our government, part of it would be about building their reserves in gold. I mean, it hasn't changed even by a 1/16 of an ounce since I think 1952 or 1954.
Right.
So it's questionable how much they actually have. But, and so that would be one of the reasons why they would confiscate, to build their gold reserves, just like they did back in 33. Another of it is to force the citizens into just the one monetary standard. Also makes sense, because they've been confiscating our wealth since the day we were born. Just look on the purchasing power chart. The day you were born, it had the most purchasing power, and then after that. So I think part of it is, or would be, to take away that power, because when you hold physical gold outside of the system, then it does not run any geopolitical risk. It protects you from inflation. It protects you. It's the only asset that runs no counterparty risk. So they want as much of your wealth as they can keep in the system, in the system. That's why I only do collectibles. That's what's happened 100% of the time. When all confidence in the currency is gone, and this is how you're going to know that they're done resetting the currency, because they will put a component of gold in it, whether it's through the SDR or the US dollar, or, you know, however they're going to do it. But there will be a component of gold in there so that people have confidence in the currency again, and oh, okay, well then we can use it. And then they'll start to whittle it away. But yeah, I mean, that's the way they've done it 100% of the time. So while we can't guarantee the future, typically if something's happened 100% of the time and they're doing the same things again, what's the most likely outcome? We've got over 4,800 currencies that we can look at the data on and say, oh, okay. So yeah, absolutely. So why is China buying so much gold? Why are global central banks on a massive global gold buying spree to the level that we haven't seen it since the 60s, when we were transitioning from at least a quasi-gold backed standard into a pure debt-based standard? Because whoever holds the gold retains their freedom, their choices, and their power. Honestly, it is just that simple. China is expected to continue to increase its official gold reserves as it builds international credibility for the yuan. Why would they do that? Because fiat money is based on a government's ability to have your confidence, and globally and in China as well. Confidence, public confidence in those that are in power are declining. And so history shows us 100% of the time, when all confidence in the currencies are lost, what do governments do? They back the new currency at the end of the day with gold to get you, the public, to trust it again. And this is not a surprise. Nations have to be strategic as they diversify their holdings and can't just dump all the US dollars they're holding. So what they're trying to create in here is a planned demolition. Now, what happens, because the whole world has been forced to use US dollars if you're going outside of your borders to buy oil or lumber or medicine or food or anything. But we know that that trend has been shifting. It is really, 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 frankly, at a critical mass now, heating up. If you are breaking into different economic blocks and tensions arising across the board, across the political spectrum, you want to get off those US dollar assets, your only choice is to buy gold. I mean, this has been proven for over 6,000 years. If you think that there might be something else, if you think this time might be different, maybe you're right, but maybe you're wrong. So why not do something that it doesn't matter whether you're right or whether you're wrong? And that, my friends, is gold. Why? Simply because gold is used across every single sector of the global economy. So 100% of the time, there is demand. and you have the broadest base of function and the broadest base of buyers. When you're going into the fight that we're going in, what do you want? You want something that only is used in one area? Or do you want something that has the broadest base of buyer? Plus, according to the Bank for International Settlements, gold held at home runs no geopolitical risk. That's what we need. That's what we all need right now.